now we know, because of testimony given before the House by a former Deputy CIA Director Mark Morrell, that it was Antony Blinken that spearheaded, that initiated the massive fraud, that letter by 51 former intelligence officials that said that the Hunter Biden laptop had all the earmarks of a Russian information campaign. That letter was a U.S. information campaign in of itself that interfered in our election to a far greater extent than anything Russia ever could have accomplished in 2016 or 2020. So based on that information, and now new emails that have surfaced, we went back into our transcripts with our interview with now Secretary of State Blinken. Now remember, he was Deputy Secretary of State under Obama. We certainly suspected that he knew about Hunter's dealings with Burisma. There was a meeting scheduled between he and Hunter in May of 2015. This is a year after Hunter joined the board. That meeting was canceled because 3 days later, Beau Biden died, but they did have a luncheon meeting in July of 2015. So we wanted to talk to Secretary Blinken prior to the election. Prior to our issuing our report, we actually had an interview scheduled, but he canceled it. But after the election, once Biden won because of his massive fraud, he agreed to sit down and be interviewed because he wanted to be Secretary of State, and he knew I'd be on Senate Foreign Relations and I'd be asking these questions in a confirmation hearing. So he wanted to, I guess, get it behind him. So he sat down, and he of course said that the only thing he and Hunter Biden talked about in July was Beau Biden's death. We had no documentation. It's a very sad story. Couldn't really press him on that. But my investigators asked him, well, how'd you communicate with Hunter? I mean, phone calls, not many. What about emails and texts? Do you email and text him? And his answer was unequivocally said no. Now, again, Matt, as you said, why didn't you just say, I can't quite remember? My guess is he wanted to make sure that we wouldn't go the step further and then start asking for his email communications, his text communications, because they might be quite revealing. So we know we've caught him in a bold-faced lie. He lied before Congress. His entire testimony that he gave after the election, December 2020, now is in question in terms of its veracity. And we need to get not only his phone records, but we also found out his wife also worked for the State Department under Obama. Her name is Evan Ryan. I never would have made the connection. She was basically acting as a conduit between Hunter Biden and Antony Blinken. In one case, trying to arrange a phone call between Antony Blinken and the heads of the Blue Star Strategies. That is the Democrat lobbying firm that was representing Burisma, trying to get meetings with Obama administration officials. So again, we've got the onion in front of us. We're painstakingly peeling back thin layer after thin layer, but the truth is being revealed, and it's pretty ugly as it relates to the lack of integrity of one Secretary of State, Antony Blinken. He should resign, or he should be impeached. Anybody with integrity with these recent revelations, I think, would have already resigned by now.